How many people have heard that open houses are a waste of time? Again, just raise your hand or you can speak on it. Um, Anybody heard that? Nobody? I'm surprised. Usually a lot of people ask me, oh, Caleb, there you go. So if you have an agent tell you that, they're probably not very good at what they do. Now, do you need to be doing open houses every day or every weekend? Now, the goal of the real estate is to prospect. And eventually, you might not have to get to a point where you have to prospect as much, but I do open houses probably every weekend with the mixture of all the other prospecting I'm doing. And the reason I do them is because they work and you can get a lot of business from it. And it's not just the open house itself where you're sitting there and doing the open house. It's everything that leads up to the open house and after the open house. So we'll kind of start from the beginning as far as you get a brand new listing and you decide to do an open house for it. So again, if let's say you don't get a listing, let's say you're just, I want to do an open house. Okay. How can I promote it? And how can I get traffic in there? And how do I find an open house if I don't have my own listing? Okay. So first we'll kind of talk about the premise. Okay. Let's say you get a brand new listing. So when you get a brand new listing, the most outreach you're going to get, depending on your team or your brokerage. A lot of teams, I know our team, we're big on social media. So we have a lot of different platforms where when we get new listings, we're going through our MLS, we're going through Zillow, we're going through Trulia, we're going through Redfin, where we're really reaching out as many people as we can. We have Facebook paid ads, so people can see us through Facebook, but that's all costs money. And if you guys aren't on a team, I don't expect you guys to pay all of that because Facebook ads, they can cost a decent amount of money. So I wouldn't solely focus on that ad aspect of it. I really want you guys to focus, okay, what can I do without spending the dollar other than putting the MLS up and, taking photos and making sure you have nice photos. And if you do virtual stage and all of that, but actually promoting it. So there is 3 points of contact. Well, 4 points of contact, I'm sorry, as far as promoting the listing and then going through it to promote the open house to pull more business from it. So as soon as I get a listing, the first thing I'm doing that first week, usually on a Thursday or Friday, I try to do it as close to the open house as possible. I found with Friday, when I go door knocking, it's a hit or miss because a lot of people are just getting home from work. They want to go out with their family because it's a Friday. They probably want to go to dinner. But then you also have the people that stay at home. So I try to do Thursdays. I don't want to do a little bit earlier. I don't want to do Wednesdays. I just think Wednesdays are a little too soon. I wanted to do as close to the open house as possible. So that Thursday or Friday before the open house, I am door knocking the entire neighborhood. And it's about 50, 60 doors. And I'm handing out flyers and I'm doing a pretty much, hey, neighbors, you're invited to the open house. And what you're doing there is it's a warm knock. It really is. It's not a cold knock. You're not there to sell them anything. You're simply saying, hey, you have a flyer that says, hey, you're invited to this open house. I wanted to let you know because you're in the neighborhood. A lot of the people in the neighborhood want to pick your neighbors. I'm sure a lot of you that live in a subdivision is like, damn, I don't like this neighbor. I wish I could have picked that person. And if you know someone who's looking to move into that area, they'd be, oh, I have a buddy or I have a family. I have my brother-in-law, sister-in-law, whoever it is, they're looking to move in this neighborhood. Let me tell them. So you're promoting the listing there. And so that's one point of contact. And all it is you're not trying to sell them anything. You're simply just, hey, my name's Justin, realtor with the Bridge Group, realtor with EXP Realty. I just wanted to invite you to the open house this Saturday and Sunday from 12 to 3. I just thought it's good to know because, you never know who's looking to move in the neighborhood. If you have any family or friends who are looking to move out here, let them know. We'd be more than happy to have them this weekend. If possible, or something along those lines. It's you're not trying to sell them anything. You're just simply inviting them. And with door knocking, I mean, I door knock 3 to 4 times a week. Some people are automatically turned off, and that's just going to happen. But a lot of times I'll knock on the door and when they answer, hey, it's Justin. I'm a realtor with the Bridge Group. I don't want to take up too much of your time. I'm not trying to sell you anything. But by the way, this is what I'm inviting you to. And so you're inviting them to the open house. And so that's one touch. Okay. And you don't have to. What I do on probably a Wednesday is I'm dialing the entire neighborhood as well. So I'm cold calling the entire neighborhood, letting them know, hey, by the way, there's a new listing. If you're looking for any family and friends, it's basically kind of like the same script as far as if you were to door knock. And so that's one touch right there. Well, two touches technically if you're making the calls and the door knocks. If you so happen to call the same person who, if you call a person and then you knock on the same door and they answer the phone and they answer the door, more than likely not going to happen. It's very hard to do that. But there is a chance it could happen. So now you actually get to the open house. And if y'all saw my video in the Slack, I kind of showed y'all a little bit as far as what the open house looks like. And so we do something called a mega open house. If y'all are familiar with Tom Ferry, or if y'all have watched any Tom Ferry videos before, he's very, very big on a mega open house. And basically what a mega open house is exactly what it sounds like. It's a huge open house where you have snacks. I bring mimosas, I bring White Claws, I bring and people always laugh at the White Claws, but you want to make it like a party. Essentially, you want to have cookies, chips, whatever it is, something that can really have them there and want them to spend time with you there. And then we put out about 30 open house signs around the neighborhood. You can do that yourself. There's a lot of people who you can pay. Our team, we pay a group of high schoolers to throw out these open house signs, and we pay them a small amount of money, but it's huge to them because they're only in high school. So you can outsource that. I know people on our team that make their husbands do it for them because they don't want to get all sweaty before they open house. So if you want your significant other to do that, you can try to do that as well. But if you don't want to do any of that, you can do it yourself to do 30 open house signs. The way I talk about putting your open house signs, you want people, all the major roads, you want to drive all the traffic to your center location, which is your open house or your listing. And the way you do that is through directional signs. And what I always say is you want those signs pointing towards your next commission check. Think of when you put this sign out, I was like, okay, this is my next commission check that's driving to me. And you keep that mindset when you're putting out those signs, or you don't feel like doing them, keep that in your mind because that could potentially be a next commission check. And so now you're at the open house. We do something where we have a red carpet. We put no cars in the driveway. We really want people to feel like, okay, this is my new home. They're driving up in the driveway. They're picturing themselves living there. They see a nice red carpet. It's like a grand entrance. We have a big flyer or a banner hanging outside in the front yard. You can go to like FedEx, I think, and customize those. There's so many different places where you can get those things customized. I believe EXP has a lot of resources as far as open house signs and everything like that as well. So you can go on there. And then, so we really, we want them to feel welcome. We want it to be a party. That's why it's called a mega open house. So I'm not going to go too much into the scripting, but we'll roughly go over it. So as soon as someone goes in an open house, so the way I like to kind of describe this is you walk into a store, you walk into a department store or like JCPenney's, Macy's, whatever it is, and someone comes up to you every single time. They say, hey, would you like any help? And then what do? You go, no, I'm just looking. And then 15 minutes later, what are you doing? You're at the register and you're purchasing something. And so you probably could have used your help, but us as humans, natural instinct, we have this wall that we put up, and we just don't want people to help us. I say it all the time. I don't want to be bothered in a store. I hate like the pushy salesman at Dillard's. I was going to buy a new suit the other day and they just came running after me and I hated it. So I do the same thing. It's a natural thing for us to do as humans. So when someone comes into your open house, it's very similar. They're coming in and they know realtor is going to be there. And if you just say, hey, do you have any questions? They're going to go, no, we're just looking around. And then next thing you know, you missed out on an awesome conversation you could have had. So whenever they walk in, I have the MLS sheet printed off. It's basically an entire sheet of paper with the list price, bedroom, square footage, tax rate, everything and anything you can think of on that sheet. And if you're already a licensed realtor, you're pretty familiar with what one of those looks like, but it's basically everything about the property. And so when they walk in, I go, hey, my name is Justin, realtor. Nice to meet you guys. Welcome to the open house. And I always make people sign in, and I never go, hey, do you want to sign in, or do you have any questions, or do you want some more information on the property? As soon as they walk in, I introduce myself, a very warm welcome. A lot of times I might throw a joke in there because I really want to break that ice, because they're coming up with a wall. A lot of times I ask this question, I know I said it before. When they walk in, I'll literally say, what brings you out? What brings you guys out today? And I know what brought them out today. They wanted to come look at an open house, and they kind of look at me like, oh, we're here to open house. And it's just, and we kind of all, it breaks that ice. It's something I'd like to throw in a joke or something that can allow them to, bring that wall down. And so you bring that wall down just a little bit, and you go, hey, let me give you guys a little bit more information on the property. And then after that, I'll let y'all wander around. If y'all have any questions, let me know after. Here's a little bit more information. And here's, like, let's say this was the sheet for the piece of paper with all the data on the house. I hold this, and then I also hold my signing card. The signing card needs to have their name, email, and phone number at a bare minimum. At a bare minimum, those are the 3 things you need to have on there. However, we have a few more questions on there as far as their address, because if I have their address, oh, it's game over. Because I know if I didn't get their email, if I didn't get their phone number, guess what I can go do? I know where they live. I'm going to go knock on their door if I had a very, very good conversation with them. And so don't force their address, but if they write their address down, definitely, if you had a good conversation with them, but for some reason, you didn't get their email, you didn't get their phone number, you can always go knock on the door. Maybe they forgot to do it, or maybe you forgot to ask for it. So just, if you have a mailing address, it's great. However, the 3 main things I would say is name, of course, phone number, and email, so you have a way to follow up with them. And so other questions on there, we have one is your property currently listed? Are you pre-approved? Because we're qualifying them just on that signing card. So they walk in, they go, I'm like, hey, here's a little bit more information. And what I'm doing as I'm walking through it, I have my clipboard. Let's see if y'all can see this. I have my clipboard. What's a clipboard? I don't have a clipboard. Here we go. Let's say this is a clipboard. This is actually a signing card right here. So I'll go, hey, here's a little bit more information. This is the price. This is bedroom, bath. This is the square footage. And what am I doing? Once I'm showing them all these things, they're seeing the signing card. They're acknowledging in their head, okay, he's gonna want me to sign into this. Versus I found when I went, hey, here's a little bit more information. And a lot of times when I try to throw in the signing card after, they're almost like, oh, no, we don't need that. Or it's just almost like an awkward handoff. So what I just started doing is, hey, there's this. And then I always like to highlight something important on the property. If it's a super low tax rate, by the way, there's this killer tax rate. I thought you guys should know. And a lot of times I go, oh my gosh, a 2.2, a 2.3. And I'm like, yeah, that's even after homestead. And if you're in Texas, you know what the homestead is. And I go, all right, well, if y'all have any questions at all, let me know. By the way, you could just fill this out, gives us a little bit of feedback that I can get to the sellers. If you have any questions at all, let me know. And I always say, before you leave, stop by, let me know what you think. And so automatically in their head, they go, okay, after I leave, I have to go talk to Justin. They don't have to, but it's already in their head, like, okay, we need to go talk to him once we're done. So at that point, I just let them wander. I'm not following them around. I'm not, even if it's the only group there, I'm not following them around. I'm just letting them do them. Occasionally, if they walk into the room I'm in, I might ask them a question or so, but I don't want to interrupt their time once they are walking through the property. So they're walking through the property, and afterwards they come back, and usually you can tell when they're done. They'll either come up to you, or you can kind of just tell. And as soon as they're done, I go, hey, what did y'all think of the property? And they'll go, oh, this, that. And I always ask them, well, what would you rate it on a scale of 1 to 10? And the scale of 1 to 10 really doesn't matter. They could say a 4, they could say a 5, they could say a 6. What I'm trying to do is have them think, and I'm trying to start a conversation, because we brought that wall down once they came in just a little bit, and then I let them go, and now the wall's back up. They still don't know me. What you need to remember, whether it's open house, whether it's cold calling, whether it's door knocking, you are a complete stranger. You are a complete stranger. And a lot of times I have to constantly remind myself, when people get upset at me for knocking on the door, or I'm talking to them at the open house and they're not giving me the response I want, they don't know who we are. We're strangers. You're not your best, you're not their best friend, you're not their mom, they're a family member. So you just need to constantly remember that not everyone's going to be super responsive to you. So when I ask them what that scale of 1 to 10 is, it has them thinking. They go, oh, we probably rated a 7. And I go, well, why would you rate it a 7? And then they start telling me, oh, the bedrooms are a little bit smaller, we like a little bit larger kitchen, we like this and this and that. And then I go, well, what are you guys looking for in your new property? And again, they're talking to me. Again, yes, I'm listening what they're wanting, but I'm also I'm kind of buttering them up. I'm getting them ready to really, push them hard, because when I'm at open houses, I'm there. I hate wasting time. I don't want to waste time when I'm there. If I'm there, I want to get a client. You're not always going to walk away with someone at an open house. You could be the best, person with scripts. You could be the best person. You could have the best open house in the entire world, but you can't force everyone to be your client or to be a lead. That's just how it is. So a little bit of it is luck, but a lot of it is also making sure you know what the hell you're doing as well. So at that point, they're telling me, we like this, we like that. And I go, hey, awesome. Well, I just want to learn you guys a little bit better. As far as this property itself, would you need to sell your current home in order to move in this property? And what I'm doing there is I'm qualifying them. Okay, so now I know, oh yeah, we need to sell our home in order to buy a new home. And I go, awesome. Well, how long have you guys been looking? I'm asking them all these qualifying questions. So I know, okay, they need to sell their home. It's a possible listing. They might have an agent. They might not, or whatever it is. So let's say they say, oh no, we don't need to sell our home. We're first-time home buyers. I go, hey, awesome. Well, have you been connected with any lenders at all or anything like that? Have you started the pre-approval process? And they go, oh yeah, we've been talking to lenders. Or no, we haven't talked to any lenders. Again, we're just kind of looking around. We're just starting the whole process. All I'm doing still is I'm asking those qualifying questions. I just want to learn more about them. So, at the same time, they're also opening up to me. So their wall is coming down a little bit more each more I'm talking. So, I don't just only ask these questions. In between that, I'm also just being a normal person. I'm kind of getting away from the scripts. I might, go off topic. And if I always say, and guys, I highly, highly, highly encourage it. Since you guys are prior military, always bring up that you're prior military. And I know it might be something that dude, no one cares, or it's one of those things where when you're a veteran, when you always talk about it, people always hate on it. But in real estate, I promise you, bring it up, because there's a lot of people, whether they're older, a lot older than you, or maybe even younger than you, whatever it is, who used to be prior military. And we all know, as a military community, people respect it. And so if I can tell, I might say, hey, yeah, when I was in the Air Force, I used to live in San Antonio. And then they're like, oh, you were in the Air Force. So we're bringing up that conversation, and I'm warming them up. We're breaking down that wall as much as we can. And so once, I got all my qualified questions, if they're a buyer, I go, hey, look, I really don't mind at all. Has anybody sat down with you guys and kind of explain what's going on in the real estate market, and really pinpoint what you guys are looking for in your new home? And what you'll find in a lot of realtors, I can't tell you how many clients I have stolen from realtors. They didn't have a buyer representation agreement. They just said they had an agent. But majority of agents do not take the time to sit down with their new clients or potential clients and just go over, hey, this is what it looks like to buy a home from step 1 all the way to the closing table. No one does that. And no one does it. It's called a buyer's appointment. You need to be doing a buyer's appointment, not only to set expectations for yourself, but to also to let them know, hey, this is what it's going to look like. And also to benefit you, to where they're not calling you 10 p.m. at night and asking you all these questions, because you already ran through all those through the buyer's appointment, but you're also really pinpointing what they're looking for in a new home. And when you do that, I promise you, there's not going to be one person who's going to go, that buyer's appointment was a waste of time. They're going to go, oh my gosh, thank you so much for taking time out of your day to explain that to us. And you don't care. That's your job. That's what you're supposed to do. And so I go, hey, no, it's no problem at all. I think it's important. And there's been so many times where I set a buyer's appointment and they told me they had an agent when I first met them, and now they're no longer do, because now they're working with me. We ended up closing on a property. So always set that buyer's appointment. And so you go, hey, well, let's say, they respond, yeah, no one has sat down with us, or yeah, no one's explained us the process. We're just starting. I go, hey, well, I always try to keep my appointments free after the open house if possible, if I don't have anything planned after. So my open houses are typically from 12 to 3. So I go, hey, look, I get out of this open house about 3 p.m. If you guys like, if you are free, we can maybe find some time after this, maybe at 4 p.m. We can just go meet at a local coffee shop and, walk you through the whole process and also get your criteria and everything like that. And this is what I was saying. Ultimately, guys, I want to make sure I'm a good fit for you. And what you're doing right there is you're almost kind of getting that tension off of them. Same thing I do with sellers is I go, hey, I want the opportunity to earn your business. And when people say that, when you say that, or you say, hey, I want to make sure we're a good fit, it's almost one of those things where like they know they're not committed to you. They're like, okay, I'm not committed to Justin. He's not my official agent. However, when you meet them in person and you show how good of a service you can do and how much in depth you can talk about the market, and you've shown them that you've taken time out of your day to meet with them, they don't even need to question it that, oh yeah, Justin's going to be my agent, or whatever your name is going to be my agent. And so a lot of times they'll go, oh, 4 p.m. isn't good today. Hey, awesome. Well, what's a good time that we can do it next week? So again, you're trying to set that appointment. And a lot of times, guys, that's like the perfect scenario. What I found a lot is whenever you do try to set that appointment in person, a lot of times they don't answer the question. It's very funny. They'll go like, oh yeah, like I'll say, hey, has anyone sat down with you guys? Go over what you're looking for in the property, the market, whatever. And they'll say something like, yeah, we put in an offer, a year ago. And I'm like, what are you even talking about? I didn't even ask you that. But they don't want to say no without saying no. And so it's just at that point, you need to add a lot of value. Talk to them about the real estate market. What I've been asking a lot of people is, hey, well, what have you heard about the real estate market? And it allows them again to open up, because a lot of people, all they're hearing is from the news. Interest rates are up. Everyone's freaking out. And honestly, guys, right now is a great time to buy a house. And if you sit there and you educate that to them, they're going to go, wow, well, it's not even a second thought. Once you even bring up that appointment that, I'd love to learn more about it. And, if you can't set that appointment there, because it's not always going to happen. You could have the best scripts, you could have the best open house, but some people, everyone's different. You're a stranger. They're not going to want to set an appointment with a stranger. And so at that point, okay, now you need to follow up with that person. And that's the point of the signing card, is because you have a way to follow up with them. And so I have a 5-day follow-up system to make sure that they will answer me or I can get a hold of them. And so as soon as I leave the open house, let's say you don't set an appointment. As soon as I leave the open house, what I do is I do the first day, well, that evening, I send them a video via email. And I have an app called BombBomb. If y'all don't know what BombBomb is, you don't need BombBomb. You can literally send them like an iPhone video or whatever phone you have. And the first video is, I had this white board. It's kind of backwards for you guys, but I just used it like an hour ago. It says their name on it. I'm sitting here, I have my camera and I'm going, and it's like one of those GIFs before you start recording. And I'll kind of be sitting there like smiling at the camera for like a few seconds, put the clipboard down. I go, hey, Kevin, Justin here, realtor with the Bridge Group. I just wanted to send you guys a quick video. It was a pleasure to meet you at the open house. I just wanted to let you guys know, talk a little bit about the conversation you had. Hey, I'm super happy that you and your family are relocating from California. I'm super, super excited for you guys. If I can ever be a resource, let me know. Love to find some time, sit down with you, go over your criteria, pinpoint what you're really looking for in the new home, and really answer any questions you guys have. Other than that, you'll have a great day, and I look forward to talking to you guys soon. I mean, it's as simple as that. I mean, it's not hard at all. And I remember I've done it so many times, so it's so repetitive for me. But I remember like the first videos I took, I took like 20 takes because I wanted to be perfect. I don't even watch the videos after I record them. And so what you'll notice, that first video, the cool thing about BombBomb is you can see when people open it. And so people will literally like reply to the video and be like, oh my gosh, like I've never seen like anything like this before. I sent a video to a for sale by owner yesterday and she replied back like, this is the greatest video I've ever seen with like all these hard eyes. So like you'll get some funny replies, but it really takes them away. And so a lot of people watch the video and they won't acknowledge it or anything like that. And so perfectly fine. Again, you are a stranger. And so the second day, if you can set, I mean, if you can reach back out to them after that first day, that's awesome. 9 times out of 10, it won't happen. That second day, you are going to do a call. You want them to hear your voice that second day. So you call them, hey, whatever your name is, this is Justin, the realtor at the Bridge Group. We met at the open house last week, and I just wanted to give you a call, see how you guys are doing. And it's as simple as that. It's a warm call. They know who you are. Again, you're a stranger, but you know who they are. They know who you are. And so at that point, hey, a lot of times they'll go, hey, I saw your video, by the way, that was awesome. Thanks for sending that over to me. Yeah, no, we're looking to buy, but, and what you'll notice is in person, they tell you all these other things and all these, like whether it's, oh, we're not looking to buy. And then you call them and then they've seen how persistent you've been as far as the video. You see that you're calling them and they're like, yeah, we're actually looking to buy a house next week. We already got pre-approved or something like that. And so at that point, set the appointment. Whether it's an in-person appointment or a Zoom call, set a buyer's appointment, because if you don't, there's a good chance an agent will and take that client from you. Now, the second day, perfect world, they reply. There's a good chance they don't. So the third day, you need to send a text. Hey, this is Justin here, realtor with the Bridge Group. Hope you're doing well. I sent you a video. I sent you an email the other day because I really, really want them to see the video. I sent you an email the other day. Just wanted to make sure you got it. Sometimes it goes to spam, so just making sure. Other than that, I hope you're having a great day. Let me know if I can be a resource at all, something like that. And so after that, you send a text. They don't reply. What are you doing the next day? You're sending another video. So fourth day, you're sending another video. Again, very similar as far as the first video. And if they don't reply, now the fifth day, you're sending a call. And so I forgot the exact number, but by the fourth day of follow-up, your percentage of that lead responding to you goes up, I think like 80%. And so that third or fourth day, you might be like, I'm so tired of following up. This is pointless. But I've had people reply on like the 10th follow-up. And so after the fifth call, they don't reply. Guess what you do? You rerun the whole thing. A lot of times on the fifth day, I'll call in the morning, and if they don't pick up, I'll call in the afternoon. And then at that point, I kind of just, do whatever I want as far as 6, 7, 8, 9, 10th, but you can really just run through that cycle again. Now there comes to a point where you don't need to follow up anymore. If it's like the 20th follow-up, it's a dead lead. You don't want to waste your time on dead leads. And, the more you do open houses, the better you'll be able to figure out who is a lead and who isn't. I can see someone walk into an open house and I can tell, like, I don't even need to have a conversation with them. Now, if it's a super slow open house and it's only them there, I'll probably still have a conversation with them because I have nothing to lose. But once you have those big open houses, all that traffic, you might be overwhelmed of all the people coming in. But you'll kind of know who to pinpoint. And I always say, if you're having a great conversation, I don't care if The Rock walks in, like, keep your eye contact on that person and really be engaged with that person. I say The Rock because The Rock is like one of my favorite celebrities. Keep your eye contact on that person, be engaged in the conversation, really, really listen, because if you see a family walk in and you're over here, oh, they're talking to you and you're over there looking to the side. If you were that person, why the hell would you want to, work with someone who's not even paying attention to that conversation? So just be engaged. And it's just like anything, like if someone's talking to you and you're there but you're not there, and then later down the road they ask you this question, you ask them a question, like, we already talked about this. So really, really be engaged in the conversation. And yeah, so that's kind of the open house itself and a little bit of scripting. I know I said I wasn't going to go a whole lot into the scripting, but I went a whole lot into it. But after this, the open house, let's say this is a listing and you sell it. Okay. This is my favorite part of an open house, because not only are open houses a great way to pull buyers, but you're also pulling sellers at an open house, the nosy neighbors that are coming in. And guess what? You invited those neighbors, and there's a good chance they'll come to the open house. And that's a whole different script as far as that. And, we're running out of time, so I can't really get into that. But after that, what are you doing after the open house? What would you want to share to the neighbors now that you're under contract? You go and you knock on the doors. Hey, Mr. Miss, you don't know their name, but hey, this is Justin here. I always knock the same doors I originally knocked in the first place, because they saw that you invited the open house. They saw your open house signs. There's a chance they could have come to the open house. And if they didn't, now, hey, by the way, You knock on the door. By the way, I know I just talked to you the other day. That house that we had an open house at, we went under contract last night. You can do this really that following week or however long your listing takes to sell. But as soon as you go under contract, print out some more flyers. Hey, we went under contract last night. I wouldn't disclose any numbers or anything like that. And so basically the same thing. Just thought it was good for you to know. I know we just talked the other day at the open house, but I thought you should know because it's pretty exciting news. You're getting some new neighbors. And at that point, you're building rapport. They've already seen you once. They went to the open house, they're seeing you twice, and now they're seeing you 3 times. So now you're under contract. And then when you close, this is my favorite door knock. I go up to the door and it's the same flyer, but it says, you have brand new neighbors, closed, $10,000 over asking, blah, 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 blah. Hey, knock on the door. Hey, this is Justin here, realtor with the Bridge Group. I don't want to take up too much of your time. I do my door knocking in the evening because that's when people are home the most because they're getting home from work. I don't want to take up too much of your time, but I just wanted to let you know we were just under contract, but now we've closed $10,000 over asking in X amount of days or whatever you would want to highlight as far as what the listing did. And then you go, oh, hey, I just wanted to let you know, I think it's good to know what's going on as far as home values in the neighborhood. What I'm doing right now for the entire community is I'm giving out free home evaluations for the home. If you like, I can shoot you over a home evaluation through your email if that's something you like, or something along those lines. Or I've even gone, hey, this is Justin here. Again, don't want to take up too much of your time. We just closed on this property, $10,000 over asking, blah, 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 blah. Have you had any thoughts of selling your home? And like, it's as simple as that. And I sometimes use it, sometimes don't, because I found when I started using it a lot of people would think that I'm just trying to sell their home that day, but I'm not. The point of door knocking is to get contact information, just an email and their name and their address. And if you can get a phone number, that's great. But if you can get their email, because now you have their contact information, now you have a way to stay top of mind. Door knocking is not, we can do another one on door knocking in the next following weeks. But door knocking isn't going to be one of those instant gratification things. It can be, but it's not likely. A lot of the times you'll run into sellers who are looking to sell later down the road. If you can get their information, you send them over a home evaluation. And the way I do it is I have a video recording my screen on my face is in the side of or in the corner of the screen. And I'm walking them through. It's like a 10-minute long video going over their home's value. Again, I just had a client reach out to me yesterday and said it was like the greatest thing she's ever seen. So do videos. I love videos because they work. And so the point of door knocking is to get information, provide value, and to stay top of mind, because we all know everyone is either going to buy or sell real estate at any point in their life. And whether it's a realtor they got referred to, whether it's a family friend, they're going to need a realtor. And it's the matter of who is going to get in front of them first, who's going to provide the most value, and who's going to stay top of mind. And if you can do all 3 of those, they're going to work with you. Again, you can't control everyone. I would be very upset if my mom or my family member used another realtor. So like a lot of people say, hey, I have, my wife's a realtor. I would 100% expect them to use their wife. And if they don't, they probably should get divorced. But, so that's door knocking for that. Door knocking is one of my favorite things to do because you can really build rapport. However, what I will say, door knocking is very effective, but it's not as efficient, because you could be door knocking for 2 hours, knock 50, 60 doors, and you might have only gotten 1 to 2 pieces of contact, or you might have had only a few, conversations. But it's way more effective than picking up the phone, because everyone hates cold calls. I do them all the time, and I hate when people call me. And so, but I still do them all the time, and they're not as efficient, but they're a lot more effective as far as time. So that's kind of the open house as far as start from beginning, and not only to leverage your listing to get the house sold, but to leverage listings and to leverage buyers. Because if you're door knocking these people and they go and they see you doing here and they maybe do want to sell in the future, they're going to go, oh my gosh, like if he's doing this for his clients, imagine if he would to do that for me. they're seeing you put in that work and they want someone who's going to work for them. And, you're going to have people get mad at you when you're door knocking. And if you follow me on Instagram, I just put up a video on this yesterday. I choose to get rejected on a daily basis. I cold call pretty much every day. I do videos, not videos. I do door knocking 3 to 4 times a week. And there's times where it gets very, very like annoying. I don't really care what people say to me as far as getting upset at me. I've gotten used to it. But there are times you go, dude, this is annoying. I hate this. I'm tired of getting rejected. I'm not seeing any progress. But all that will make up when you have that one really awesome conversation. So all it takes is one. All it takes is one. And if someone gets upset at you, just detach from what they're saying. Who cares? But at the end of the day, what you need to do in order to do best for your sellers. That your sellers are paying you. And if it's a higher price property and you're in the $1 million, price range, or whatever price range it is, it doesn't even matter on the price range. They're paying you about 3%, depending on what the commission you agreed on. They're paying you to sell their property. So if you don't do any of this, you don't do an open house, you don't do door knocking, whatever it is, you are not doing the correct due diligence to them. And so when people get upset at you, just remind yourself, hey, this is what I'm doing for my sellers. They hired me to get the house sold, and I'm going to do a damn good job at it. So when you get discouraged, just constantly remind yourself why you're doing it. And yeah, so a little bit as far as open houses, I'll open it up for any questions. I always go past 30 minutes. Anybody have any questions? Anybody do an open house and they're just not having a successful one at all? Or anybody have any questions or something to add to what I said? Anything like that? What's up, man? I don't, your name says owner, so I don't, is that your name or is that?
No, my name's Kenny.
Oh, okay. All right. What's
So,
up, man?
I got two questions. So, what are the biggest mistakes that you've seen or have done during your open houses?
Oh, there's a whole lot. Are you talking about at the open house itself or, I'll say a couple. So the first one is being scared to talk. At the end of the day, we are all scared of rejection. If you don't want to go door knock, you don't want to make the call, you don't want to talk to that person at the open house, it's because you're scared to be rejected. There's no other way around it. You could say, oh, well, that's that and that, but you're scared for someone to tell you no, or you're scared for someone to get upset at you. But once you get over that fear of rejection, because it's going to happen, once you get past it, you'll be okay. Because there's been times at open houses where I'm just like, oh, I don't want to ask them this question. I feel like I'm pushing them too hard, or, but it's ultimately you're making up excuses in your head just not to have a conversation or not to confront somebody, because no one's going to come to you at an open house. There might be a time where someone has, hey, can you be my agent? Because they see how awesome your open house is. But no one's, for the most part, going to walk in and be, hey, I'm looking for a realtor. I want you. You have to push them. They don't know who you are. You need to add some type of value. So you're going to be at an open house where you're not going to want to say something, or you're going to be scared. Just push past it, detach from the outcome, and just push the hell out of them. Again, not everyone is a lead. This is how it is. That's probably my biggest mistake. And the second one, I think, is I think these are kind of hand in hand, or they're pretty equal to each other, is not following up. Like I said, you are a complete stranger. If you follow up the second day and you're like, yep, they're not answering. Oh, well. Like, no, like they don't know who you are. Like, just keep following up with them. Like, what do you have to lose? They're not going to like reach through the phone and like punch you. Like you're just scared of someone saying no. And if they say no, then cool, delete them. You don't need to follow up with them anymore. And so be persistent on your follow up. 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10 days. And I've had people reply on the 7th or 8th day. And so just be persistent in your follow up. And when you think you haven't followed up enough, do some more. And so that's probably my biggest two things as far as open houses. You could talk all day about scripting, talk all day about having the coolest snacks at your house. No one really cares. But if you can just push past that fear of rejection, you could have the most terrible scripts. But if you can just go, okay, I'm going to talk to this person. I don't care what they say to me, and I'm going to follow up with them, you'll be very, very good at open houses.